George Hill has drawn the interest of the Cleveland Cavaliers, which is interesting in all kinds of ways. First of all, a veteran point guard with plenty of playoff experience. Secondly, how do they make this work? He's making $20 million this year. The Cavaliers already have the second most expensive roster in the entire league. And if you start looking at the salaries and expiring contracts that presumably the Kings would want, there's not a ton on that roster that makes a lot of sense going back the other way.
Isn't any move that the Cavs make really all about, does this help us beat Golden State
of course,
if we get to the finals?
Got to be,
so,
because you don't know if you'll have LeBron James there next year or anytime.
Exactly. So their whole thing is they want to win again and get to the finals one more time to give themselves a chance of getting LeBron to come back. I don't know if George Hill does that, if he makes them better with all that money that he's carrying on the contract. I'm not sure that he makes them better in that position going into if they get to the Golden State game.
Well, it'd be interesting because, you know, they've been playing without a real starting point guard for a good chunk of the season because of the injuries to Thomas and to Derrick Rose. Jose Calderon, no offense, kind of passed his sell-by date.
Oh, by the way, when he was in that, they did win 18 out of 19 during that stretch.
They did, but he was kind of the nominal starting point guard. LeBron James was handling the ball a lot. If they bring in George Hill, then suddenly you've got 3 or even 4 point guards on that roster.
Well, first of all, clearly Fratello is a Calderon fan. Got a little offended by that remark. That's okay. I'm a fan too. I've loved him in Toronto.
He went from being a cheerleader to being the starting point guard. Okay?
He did, yeah.
He did a nice job.
Who knows? You know, maybe he's moved, or if this were to happen, maybe Tristan Thompson, who I actually think they need in the postseason. They need better production. He was huge for them, but his contract and his play this year, they may be considering that. But I think it makes them better, but not good enough.
Right.
And George Hill, I think in terms of complementing LeBron James. LeBron James has the ball in his hands. He's a playmaker. George Hill can play off of that. He can catch and shoot. He's a good defender on the ball. Derrick Rose, who we keep waiting for, but I just never thought that fit, that they were compatible.
Right.
You know, they both needed the ball, and Derrick Rose is not
a spot-up shooter.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think it makes them better, but not good enough ultimately to win and beat Golden State.
Matt, let's think about this. To get to Golden State, okay, if you do that move, because obviously they get killed on the glass so many nights where they're getting beat up on the boards. But having said that, if you get into the semifinals and it's against Toronto, Valanciunas.
Got some big bodies they can throw at you.
Can Tristan Thompson
Ibaka.
play against Ibaka? Now, let's say it's Boston. Okay, Baines or Horford moving back to the 5 spot. They've got to worry about matching up with those guys depending on who they bring in, who they get. And then if you bring this guy in to help you rebound, when Golden State puts Green at the 5 spot in the finals, is this big guy that you traded away for going to be on the floor to match up with the roster that they put out there of Green at 5 and Durant at 4 and, Curry and Thompson and whoever's at 3, Iguodala, it's...
Reports are flying all over the place. Another one concerning the Cleveland Cavaliers from our friend Mark Stein of the New York Times. Cavaliers also registered trade interest in the Clippers' Lou Williams, according to league sources. With Cleveland vets such as Tristan Thompson, as you mentioned, J.R. Smith featuring in various trade proposals. David Aldridge has confirmed this for us. Lou Williams is a really interesting name. A lot of folks think he is an all-star, whether he makes the team or not. A lot of folks a month ago said he's trade bait because he's got an expiring contract and he can really score the ball. But the Clippers keep playing themselves into contention for a playoff spot and kind of clouding the issue for them.
Yeah, well, Lou Williams, wow. That's different. That's different than George Hill. And the way he has played, he's really helped sort of save this season for the Clippers. A lot of injuries, a lot of setbacks. But just the way he has scored, and to see him in a situation where he has a chance to win, that would be so exciting for a guy like Lou Williams, who's just, had the respect of everybody in the league for so many years, but never quite been able to play on that stage. He's a guy, Coach, that can win you a game in a series. Win you multiple games,
Sure.
And Cleveland just doesn't have a complementary piece right now to LeBron like Kyrie Irving, who can go out and just take over, get hot, carry a team for a quarter, a half, or an entire game. You had that last year with Kyrie Irving, excuse me. But
can you do that again, please?
That was impressive.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, nice.
I live to entertain Fratello. But you know, and it remains to be seen if Isaiah Thomas can he get back to that level.
He's that guy.
And so if you had two guys now, could be interesting.
If I'm Doc Rivers right now, with the way they're playing, this is what we said way back in the beginning of this season when we talked about all the teams. Chris Paul moving on, another change here or there. I said Doc Rivers may have the most fun he's had in a long time with this new group, okay, because he had some young pieces, you know, energy. That's what you've seen in the last 6 or 7 games for them. They're playing with energy, they play hard, they're running the floor. Lou Williams out there doing his thing. It might be fun right now, and they're right there in the playoff race. I don't know if you want to give that up.
It's a really tough call. If they're not planning on sticking with Lou Williams long term, but they're still in the playoff picture as the deadline approaches, are you willing to move him? I don't know. I'm glad I don't get paid to make that kind of decision.